money, a mystifying family, and an uncertain future, I was uncomfortable even entering a shop or talking to classmates, and felt that I might not survive long enough to ever be considered part of the real world. But I was sure of one thing: imagination, in one form or another, would always provide a means of escape. In the summer of 1960, an impoverished London was limping into unknown territory, still bearing war wounds that successive governments had not been able to heal. The re-elected Conservatives were intent on building homes and motorways, creating jobs, ending debt, changing the lives of working men and women, but nothing much seemed to be happening. The new Elizabethan's England, faintly pretentious but peculiarly charming term chosen for those born in the reign of Elizabeth II, felt dictatorial, not democratic. "Do not" and "we know best" were the orders of the day, as if knowledge and freedom were things to be afraid of. London, said one radio comedian, had spent the last 15 years tidying up after a very messy party, and the Hitlers wouldn't be invited round again. The city had swept all the debris away, shoveling the rubble of destroyed houses into vales and ditches, even managing to turn the hilly scrubland of nearby Blackheath into a great green billiard table. It had eradicated all the stubborn stains, and had set about replacing the damaged ornaments with ugly, cheap-looking utility versions. Everything would soon be back to normal, even if it was all much scrappier and poorer than before. But where on earth did the country go from here, now that the framework of the past had burned down? What was going to replace it? 1960 was not a time suited to imagining, but imagination held the key to the coming decade. The ideals of a new generation could, my parents were told, transform the country. Goodbye, sooty old industrialization. Hello, trendy young image. London's image especially was in line for a makeover, as a tiny handful of mini-skirted dolly birds and Chelsea-set boys in military tunics prepared to spark a revival in the capital's dying leisure spots. Their psychedelic lifestyles were specifically designed to enrage adults. And yet, there was a sense that something radically new was needed. Angry letters were written to the Times complaining about the young sporting their parents' war medals as fashion accessories. Later, punk would democratize rebellion. London's first swingers were few in number, and only appeared among the plum-voiced children of the rich. Their antics had traditionally been tolerated with a roll of the eye until their money ran out and they grew up. This time, though the air was thick with measured outrage, even I could sense that something fresh might come of it. Unfortunately, I would never become a part of their exciting world. I was 10 years old, for God's sake. A decade and a social class down, stuck in a suburban Edwardian terraced house with a family that wasn't even peculiar enough to be classed as eccentric. My classmates never noticed me, except when I accidentally found myself in charge of the playtime goalposts and let the ball into the net 3 times because I was busy trying to remember what gold kryptonite did to Superman. Then they noticed me long enough to kick me into a hedge. My formative years were to be filled with orderly lassitude, like those of a soldier posted to a peaceful backwater. These were days of strawberry jam on white bread, the squeak of chalk in hushed classrooms, Hancock's Half Hour, a seminal radio show by Gorton and Simpson that changed the face of British comedy by foregrounding character. Sad, dry, and hilarious if listened to with patience. Cold mutton on Mondays, Shirley Abercare and her zither, backfence arguments, kicking about in the garden, and walking alone through empty, silent streets. The only counterculture I could experience was the over-the-counter culture of the local co-op. The most exciting thing that happened that spring was the tortoise waking up. If someone bought a car, all the men in the street came out to look at it. Barely dragged out of the threadbare 50s, South London was still sooty and pockmarked, its populace coughing and on the cadge.